Thank you so much, and for just everything you've been doing with the youth. And what my niece did not say is that she's also the vice chair for Introducing Youth to American Infrastructure Inc., and really helps to bring that financial literacy, business development, entrepreneurism element to the programming that we do for young people. And it's very simple. I personally was in the transport sector for I've been over 40 years, and you just to see the infrastructure sectors themselves, and that's sectors like transport, water, energy, communications, public health, okay, and the great opportunities, career opportunities that are in those areas. And many times our kids just really, they just have a glimmer. They have no idea of the full range of what their opportunities are.
So we're going to let our audience build a little bit. We've got 8 people so far since we just kind of impromptu went live. Hey, pretty Mrs. G, welcome back. Hey, Netta. This is my aunt, Dr. Beverly Scott. I'm going to get her to tell y'all a little bit more about herself and this very, very worthy organization and a fundraiser that we're going to raise some lunches for today on Giving Tuesday. Because it's Giving Tuesday.
That's right. So
hey, Rose S. Oh, go ahead.
That's it.
Do you see the comments on the side, Auntie? Click on comments, and then you can see.
You got to keep me going. Cool. Okay. Oh my Lord. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm looking. I got you. How you doing? I see Miss Pretty G, Miss Netta Libra. Oh, you're a Libra. Oh my goodness. That's true. That's all about love. Okay. Okay. Just being Buffy. Thank you so much for joining. Teresa Perry. How you doing, Michelle? It's really all about the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been in these, and I fell into the infrastructure sectors. If you'd have asked me, was I going to be in transportation for 40 years? I would have told you 40 years before that, I was minding my business, teaching government and public affairs at Tennessee State University.
Tennessee State.
That's like, I'm HBCU. So
yes, honey.
I'm Howard. And then my first job was at Tennessee State. And I was minding my business. And I had a former professor who wrote a little note at the top of something, thought of an application, thought you might be interested. And it was for a program around government, state government jobs and all that kind of stuff in Houston, of all places. I applied, one thing led to another, and I was one of the people they selected. So when they asked me which department of city government that I want to work in, now remember this 40 years ago, I said, well,
don't let her skin fool you.
I said, well, I don't, everybody I knew that was Black, brown, but I would say it was Black, but it was in government, okay, at a high level. We're generally in relations areas, and I have the most respect for relations areas, but I really wanted to be in one of those like breakthrough areas. So I told them I either wanted to be in transportation or sanitation, okay, and that's how it all started. So I had an 18-month fellowship with, at that time, the City of Houston's Office of Public Transportation. And that's where it goes from there. So the bottom line for all these careers, and I tell people all the time, I am the biggest charlatan in the world, okay? I'm like all the good things that move, the elevators, the escalators, the bridges, and all that. But really, I tell people all the time, I say, what I've been blessed to do is be in the business of community building. And that's really what it is. Because all of these, you think about it, all of these careers, I was just talking about the transportation sector, the water sector, the energy sector. It's all clean water, how you get around, who got trees, who doesn't have a tree, who has curb cuts, who has bike paths, who can do this, who can do that. I tell the young people all the time, I say, affordable housing. Who do you think does all these things? It's the people in the infrastructure sectors. So we have got to get in every one of these sectors, documentably, we don't have to make up any numbers, have always had persistent problems in terms of lack of diversity for people of color and women. Okay. And that's across the board. So that's what I is all about. We're about introducing our young people to the infrastructure careers, because for the most part, they really don't have an appreciation for the full range of the positions. And I want every kid to go, if you want to go and get all the degrees in the world, but many of these positions as well, they are wonderful. Okay. Elevators, escalators, electrical, but you do not have to have a college degree for the vast majority of them. Okay. Now
So wait, so TT, wait. So come on now, we get some people. She done skipped over who she is. Now she always is very modest.
well, I've been around so see, you can do when you've been doing something for over 40 years, you get a chance to check a lot of boxes around you.
Whatever, Auntie. No, she
boxes.
is fantastic and amazing, and we are so very proud of her. And she's extremely modest, but I'm not.
That's why everybody needs to have
you need to have a niece like me that's your publicist.
You need to have a niece like Buffy. It's so wonderful because I tell you the honest God's truth, it's almost like you say this, it was almost like you say a mini me, but a mini me on more than steroids. Okay.
Correct. Correct. So Auntie, because you just skipped over it. Oh, and Louis heard your voice and look what he's doing.
Hi, Louis. Hi, sweetie. I know I would have been there, Louis, but
not for COVID.
I know, but for COVID. That's
the dogs sit under her desk. She works like 20 hours a day and they sit under her desk at our house when she's working and they stay with her the whole day. They ignore me. They love TT. So let me tell you a little bit about TT. So she just, skipped over who she is. But so a couple things, and then she's going to add all of it. But she, I live in Atlanta, but when Auntie was in Atlanta, she was the CEO of MARTA, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is our mass transit system in Atlanta. So she ran it. Whatever, TC, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal, yeah.
So go through all the mass transit system, go through your career. And then also a notable thing that you all should know is President Barack Obama did what, Auntie?
Well, he appointed me to the National Infrastructure Advisory Council, which is council that all of the 16 critical infrastructure sectors. See, I was in transport, but the other sectors there's 16 altogether, and that includes financial services, energy sector, water sector. So CEOs across those sectors are all part of and that's why when I say are all part of the NIAC, and I'm the and he also appointed me the vice chair of the NIAC. The chair of the NIAC is also a woman, and she's the president of Hawaii Electric. Okay, so we have executives from all of those sectors that actually sit. And that's where one of my big epiphanies came. I always got it in terms of people readiness and workforce development and what the needs were in transportation. But I tell you the honest to God's truth, I could close my eyes listening to all these other CEOs talking about they didn't know where the people were going to come from, retirements that were happening in droves, the technological transformation. And I'm sitting up here talking about, and then on the other hand, how dumb is dumb? That people say that they don't have, and then we're sitting over here in our communities with just, we don't know where we're going to wind up being able to find work. How are we going? Okay, come on now. This does not make sense. Okay. And so that's what we're trying to do we are going to do is that we wind up bridging these connections. Okay. This is something that makes sense for everybody. And the last time I looked, I tell people all the time, you can talk all you want to, but the last time I looked, don't be telling me about some social welfare or whatever, is to wind up being able to have a good job or business, a real career in business development, my own self-sufficiency. And when I have that, I have never asked anybody, you don't have to give me anything, but I do need to have that door open. I need to have the key so I can get some knowledge and information. And then I need to be able to have a level playing field. Okay. And I'm saying, and that's what we're really trying to do. And to be able to get, and these are to be able to get folks, it makes a difference. When you have people like yourself that are sitting, it's supposed to make a difference. That's why inclusion is so important, aside from the fact it's the morally right thing to do. But when people are sitting at the table and we're all bringing our vision, our experiences, our exposures to the table, you make better decisions. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I tell you one thing that was as eye-opening is and I'm not confused, but I've worked hard. but I've also been fortunate, very fortunate. I said, no, nobody gave me anything, but I've been fortunate. Okay. But don't confuse personal accomplishment with collective success. When I look around, we have a lot of people. That's why we had a president who was African American. Yes, we have made progress. But to say that as a people, collectively, have we made the progress? That's where we haven't. Okay. And I'm saying, and so that's what we gotta, that's what we don't need to get confused about, is those two different things. Okay. And honestly, it is like we got to fix this. Okay. And I'm saying, and everybody got to fix this. Okay. This is not just, this is we work. That's what I call that big we work. So we got to get these young and the young people, they don't even, because we creating an army too. I'm jumping all over the place. We creating an army.
Right,
we want to expose them to the careers. And that's what we do, because they really do not know. And just because a young person goes into a STEM or a STEAM program, even the teachers have told me, they say, Bev, look at me. I am a science teacher and I'm good. I am a math teacher. I'm very good, but I am not an infrastructure teacher. Okay. And so their point is that they in order for them to make the connection of what are the range of careers and those kind of opportunities, really takes deep relationships with the sectors themselves, businesses, individuals, professionals coming and talking to the kids, talking to them, so they know, oh, so and so likes this, and this. I can't tell you how many young people I've talked to, and they'll tell me, oh, I want to do this. But it's almost like they just dismiss the idea that this, whatever they think that this is not done in the infrastructure sectors. Okay.
Well, tell them what IYAI is, Auntie. Like, go through IYAI Plus, what it is, and then we're gonna talk. Let's structure it a little bit and talk about these careers that you're talking about that don't require a 4-year college degree, that provide people with a good salary, where they can have a family and have a night, and not just, IYAI is for the youth, but there's this other population now, especially with COVID, who need to find another career.
Absolutely. So really what we do now, it's not just exclusive for K through 12, because you really have to have so we look at education and knowledge, let's put it that way, and skills and competencies. This is like 360 degree. This is the point. All of us, you learn all your life. Okay. And I tell people, in increasingly in this world that is now the world of the 21st century, there really are no inoculations for life, that we will be learning forever. And so this whole notion of continuous learning, and like Buffy was saying, like skills upgrade, reskilling, and all of that, and particularly you'll hear me say a lot about digitalization. If you want, and this is something we push with our youth, is to say, look, no matter what you want to do, you need to not just be digitally, and don't tell me it's about a smartphone. If I hear somebody else tell me 93% of smartphone, so that means we got digital literacy, I will smack them. Okay. And, that is, don't tell me my kids supposed to be doing they're supposed to be doing all their homework on their smartphone. I don't think so. Okay. But you do have to have the digital literacy, because there's no question but that the world of work, just the world period, is changing. And with this technological transformation, the big thing, and then you hear people talk about these jobs are going to go away, and then, well, don't worry about that, because there's going to be all these other kind of jobs over here. Well, let me tell you, the bridge, and they usually get pretty skimpy about telling you about, well, don't worry about it, but this is what they don't go around telling you. These jobs over here that are going away, the ones that are coming over here, almost 100% are going to require, for you to be good, they're going to require digital, beyond proficiency. I say excellence, but they definitely are going to require digital proficiency. So one of the things that we have to have, as just make it like a basic rite of passage, is that our kids have to be, we have to equip them with that element. Okay. And I'm saying, and I'm gonna get a look, and I'm gonna say this, this summer we did our summer program. Most of the time our programs are focused in terms of high school, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. We started active IYA a couple of years ago. We wanted to wind up doing pilot programs so we could be out there, not just running our mouths about what we thought, but actually have real kids. Well, this is the truth, because I was laughing. You can see I can run my mouth. And I said, I can talk about
they see where I get it from.
I was laughing with people. I said, I can talk about policy and advocacy till the cows come home. I said, but I really want to be able to touch lives. And that's what I love about my board. Buffy's on the board. And I said, we want to be able to touch lives of real people, real youth that are out there, so you can really try to make a difference. And then try to understand from talking with teachers and educators and employers, what are the missing links? And so we've had 2 years of rigorous programming. Our first program, pilot program, we did in the District of Columbia at Cardozo Trans-STEM Academy. The kids
Cardozo.
I love Cardozo. Lord, I've been volunteering there for probably about 25 years. Okay.
Tell them about Cardozo. Auntie kept talking about Cardozo, and like she finally like got me to go to DC and go to this school, and I swear it's like Hogwarts.
It's like Hogwarts. And see, because I go back with them so long, and like in the mid 90s, I remember, because it's a 100-year-old facility. And and actually, when I was going to school at Howard years ago, it was a red light district. Now, like everything else, is gentrified. But the kids that go to the school are still poor kids, because many of the people that have moved into the neighborhood, very, very few of them send their kids to the school. 6 years ago, this 100-year-old facility, which I want to tell you was the first school way back 100 years ago in the District of Columbia that actually let Black people go to public school. Okay, it has that kind of history to it. But 6 years ago, this is where she's talking about the Hogwarts Park. They were one of about 5 or 6 schools in the district that benefited from this big capital bond thing. So they had $130 million investment in the physical plant. Oh my God, I remember when it would rain outside and it'd be dripping down the roof. It'd be dripping. Move kids out of the school building to another little Quonset hut across the street because the facility was just so old. Oh my God, you walk in there now, they got smart boards. They actually have like an air traffic control center. I mean, it's amazing. It is absolutely
teaching these kids, like these kids are graduating from high school with a pilot's license, knowing how to like build a plane from scratch and flying it while they're in school.
It's amazing. I have taken more people, because when folks want to start telling you about what's not possible, and these are average. I mean, they're kids that are, I call them 5-point scale. You got the 4s and the 5s and everything. But a lot of the kids they're average kids, because the other thing about Cardozo that I love, they've been doing their programming in the Transportation STEM Academy for 31 years. Okay. And so I said, look, I don't want to wind up piloting in a program and people say, what kind of pilot was that? They've been out there doing the hard work for 31 years. Okay. And so they're really, they've been through the ups and downs of different administrations and all that kind of stuff like that. But when you look at the product of the kids you are known by your fruits of your labor. And when you see when you see the young people that have come out of that program, their alumni, they do all the things that the teachers of facility, they have things like clothes closets and stuff like that. But the kids feel no shame or anything of they're going to go for a professional to the Congress for whatever. And if they don't have the little jacket, that's the right kind of jacket or whatever. I mean, they've been doing that kind of stuff for, like I say, 30 some years. And they got a lot of tough love in there too.
They don't play. That's good. But you know what? Those are the teachers you remember who were like, they didn't play with you. It was like having a parent at school. And you would make sure your homework was done, and you made sure that you did what you were supposed to do.
Exactly. And you knew, and the thing that's amazing about them is that they have had enormous results, but they've never, I say they're a very special school, but they've never been exclusive. And so it is open enrollment. It's not that you have to be, it's not just a magnet program or something like that. So that if a kid, you want to keep their nose clean and really, maybe they were the kid. I've known them to accept a kid that had a 1.75, but they had a lot of things going on in their family and stuff like that. They just were, just challenges for them. And if that kid really, really wanted to apply themselves, I've seen them do that where they say, look, you know what? We're going to take the chance. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And when you wind up having the belief, the difference that having belief and caring and really being there makes a big difference. So anyway, so what we do is we give them an immersion. And usually our program, and we can do after school programs. I tell people we don't try to only have a one cookie cutter for IYAI, because if that's all you have, many local areas are doing really great things, and you have to appreciate what's already in place, and then you try to wind up being able to support that. But a traditional IYAI program would wind up, it's always going to be an immersion. And we do an immersion in what, out of the 16 critical infrastructure sector, there are 4 of them that are officially designated as lifeline. And that's the transportation sector, the water sector, the energy sector, and the communications sector. And then I always like to put in critical manufacturing, because that's where you start getting into all of this with artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, using drones, all that kind of stuff, which does have a big impact on robotics of what's happening in the lifeline sectors. Okay, and I'm saying, and so I always try to we make sure that they have a exposure to the critical manufacturing aspect of it as well. Okay, and we do an immersion. So we have speakers, we have tours, we have quick mentoring, the hands-on mentoring, and we try to make sure that the relationships that we bring, because we bring subject matter experts from across all of these different industry sectors. And so what I try to make sure, like in Chicago, we've got 4 interns that we still have in Chicago right now. And in fact, one of them is on Lolly. She's got a little Zoom thing going now, because they are very big into the clean water up in Chicago area. And so she and her class have been out there working on a clean water project. And I told her I would Zoom in. But so what the kids do is that we try to make sure that they stay connected with professional networks of these different sectors. Okay, last night I had them on the phone, and I've got 2 in Chicago and 2 in DC, and I had them on the phone with a sister that's up there that's been doing tremendous work in an organization there, where I want those kids to make those connections and keep those connections and build those connections within their networks, and then in these industry sectors, because a lot of these things that come up, you can't go. They have scholarship opportunities, there are grant opportunities, there are other internship opportunities. And quite candidly, it's insider information. You can't go to a regular grant book and just open it up and say, oh, it's not even necessarily they're trying to hide it. It's just that if you don't have remember I told you in the beginning, the key, you don't have a key, you don't know to ask the question. So there's a lot of these different organizations that have this kind of stuff. In my own sector, you wouldn't necessarily know it if you're not in the sector. So what we try to do, I do a lot of, I call it, they know, they excuse me because of my age, I call them all kids. They could be 30 they could be 30 or 25, and I call them the kids. They'll call, and then, I know that one of our kids, he's a rising, he just got a scholarship he just got a notification. His parents are so happy of a scholarship. Well, he's pre-engineering. So what we've got to do is to make sure that we help to try to get him an internship for this summer coming up, that will wind up being, he's done other internships, but we really want to get him with one of these engineering companies to be having,
job,
that kind
career.
of a career. And so that's the kind of, I tell people, I don't try to take a there's a lot that's similar about the sectors, but I'm not going to try to come to Atlanta and give Atlanta a Chicago program, just like I wouldn't try to give Chicago a program that's an Oakland program. Okay. The basics are there, but the networking, the people and the organizations that they need to meet, and they need to be able to begin to build their own portfolios and stuff. And then we have another very unique part with IYAI that we do. And we do this, this is with our My Beloved community. And I was blessed to have had Mrs. Abernathy. We all were. When I was worked at MARTA, she was my board member, on my board for 5 years. And Miss A used to always hear me. I'd say, Miss A, I'm gonna do something with these kids when I retire. And she'd always told me, she said, baby, I'll go ahead and be on your board. So we were really blessed. In fact,
say her full name so people know who you're talking about.
Mrs. Juanita Jones. And so we were so honored. In fact, we had our retreat, our board retreat in February last year in Atlanta, specifically to make it possible for her to be able to attend, which she did. And it was we knew her age, but you would, a lot of times they wouldn't even have known it. Okay.
Baby, she was fabulous every time Miss A.
We actually all closed Surfers down. Okay.
Now the restaurant down with Mrs. A.
Down in February. So I knew Miss A was aging and, getting more frail. But when everything happened and she, had the stroke and everything in the summer and then into, passed in the fall, it was really hard. But here was the whole thing. She actually put her hand on this element that we have. We have our young people tell their own story, and they do their own videos. And you'll see some of the videos when you go on the website. And we do that. I'm not trying to just throw names out, but there's a brother up at Harvard that helped to come up.
Throw the names, TT. Throw the names.
So the Harvard, the Charles Hamilton Houston Institute for Race and Justice, which is with Harvard Law School, has been our partner in developing what we call the My Beloved community element, transformative justice element, where our young people get to tell in their own voice, in their own words. They do their own videos. So we get them. Now, once again, this is digital stuff. So we are able to gift them the gizmos that they need to have to be able to do. All of them got a phone, but they don't know how to do storytelling. They don't know how to do video editing. They don't know how to do that. So part of their capstone project for us is always going to be them to make the connection between infrastructure, the difference that it makes in your household, the difference it makes in your community, and the difference it makes in your society. And once they make that connection and they understand the fact that if they're in these careers, that they can be the people that are the ones making the decisions, where that bus goes, where that bridge goes, who gets a curb, who gets a park, who gets a bike path. When they get how do you understand whether your water is clean or not? Okay. Once they get the understanding that that's what happens in the infrastructure connections, that's why I say we make an army. They get a whole different perspective. So we really stress community engagement, and we're trying to help kids really develop their voice and their civic muscle, because all of this that's happening is for the society that they're going to be, it's their world. Okay. So that's a whole lot that we talk about, that we say, but that's what we try to bring in IYAI.
You don't try, you do it.
That's it. So in the marks that we have gotten from the youth in the programs have been just off the chain. And most of them is just the awareness that they really did not know. And so what we do, we live what we preach, is that we value and we respect the learned experience of our youth. I tell them, I say, look, you've been walking your streets and living in your community all your life. There's nothing I can tell. I can give you words and frameworks around it, but you know where the pinch points are. You know what works and what doesn't work. So we really value the learned experience of our students. And that's another reason why we have our annual board meeting this Saturday. Ha ha ha, everybody's, I'm sitting up here trying to I keep telling my body the rest of the package. But at the board meeting, at the student interns who have been a part of the program are going to be making a presentation to our board, and their presentation is their project for their internship, because our point to them was, well, now that you've experienced the program, we'd like your recommendations and thoughts about how we can improve it, how we can expand it. What would you say? Okay. And so they've been busily working with some of the other students so that they're going to give a presentation on Saturday to the board. And what we need is your help. Okay. And I'm going to be very honest. We really, really need your help. I'm going to tell you what the secret is. I know what they're going to tell me. One of the things they're going to tell us is they want IYAI clubs. Okay. I'm just warning everybody. And I told them, I said, y'all shouldn't tell me nothing because I can't hold water. Okay. I know what they're going to say is that they want to see us do IYAI clubs. But really at this point, everything has really been, honestly, every dollar goes into programming. Okay. We have been very much self-supporting and have been very fortunate to have gotten a lot of pro bono, the caliber of the presenters, the speakers, all of that we've had, and we have paid internships.
Say that again, PT.
Paid. Okay.
Tell them how much they got paid this summer, Auntie.
Oh, I had because depending on where you are, I had kids. I'm not kidding you. $20 an hour.
$20 an hour.
$20 an hour. And the internships that we have right now, see, District of Columbia is $16. Their minimum wage is $16. Out here is $17.50. So we do paid internships. Okay. And so I tell people, I say our young people do not have the luxury of being able to be in these programs if it's not a requirement to graduate. Then when they're making their decisions about what they're going to do, they will make the decision to go sling hamburgers in the greasy pit if that's going to get them $15 or $16 an hour. Okay. And I take nothing from it, but as opposed to doing what they might really want to do, which is this kind of extended educational opportunity. And so that's why I'm constantly out here hustling with these businesses and private sector. And it's really the private sector. Okay.
Auntie gets the money from the private sector. She doesn't play with them.
I'm telling you. And then we pay the teachers. I mean, we pay the teachers.
Are very well paid.
And they're very well paid. I'll be honest, we were doing $45 an hour for our teachers.
Right, this is what she preaches, y'all.
Yeah. So you have to, and we made sure that anyone, because we're dealing with a lot of the students we have 10th, 11th, and 12th are minors. And then, well, oh God, you want to talk about this virtual stuff. But I mean, everybody that we have in any way that was interacting, they had the FBI clearance, the Illinois State Police clearance, the national. So we are very, you stay extremely, we don't play. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so no, we need your help. Okay. And because these kids are just they're fabulous, but they need to be able to have the experiences, the exposures, and it's around. We make sure that we have community-based organizations that come to. It's not just about learning about right angles and triangles and what run. We want them to have a spirit and a caring about community and about you can go march everywhere, but your real fight starts in your own neighborhood and on your own street and on your own block. And letting them know that they really can make a difference. And that's really the message.
So. Yes, Titi. So tell them a little bit about some of the careers. Let's talk about some of the kids who've come out of Cardozo and they start a program in the 9th grade, maybe in the railroad industry, and graduate and have a job starting at. Tell them a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so this is the difference between, I say, if somebody had been telling me this stuff when I was going to school, I didn't know it this way. So just to give you a order of magnitude, I'd say STEM is not the only foundation for these positions. And you do not have to be Einstein in order to be able, but all the infrastructure careers at the end of the day, we do build things, we plan things, we build things, we maintain things, we operate it. Now and so the core, I tell people the core of it is that, okay. Now we got lawyers, we got doctors, we got all kinds, that's the stuff we got marketing representatives, we got government affairs, we have everything. We have horticulturists, we have all of that. But at the heart of it, that's what your infrastructure sectors do. So we build a lot of stuff and we fix them. So let's talk about this building and fixing. When you look at what people call a STEM career, on average, you're gonna if you're not in the STEM career, you're gonna make on average about $19 an hour. If you are in a STEM career, you're gonna make more like $39 an hour.
Say that again, TT. 19 versus 39.
Exactly. I'm saying to myself, if someone, when I was a 10th, 11th, 12th grader, if somebody had just kind of given me those kind of general numbers, it's like, oh, you got my, and we won't even talk about things like the real high specialty areas like elevator and escalator repair. Oh my Jesus Christ. Okay. I am not. I'm talking about you could be easily 50 some bucks an hour. And we're not talking about overtime. We're not. So here's the other thing that gets the young people. So we said those numbers, $19 an hour and 39, 18, 19, $39. So that's just cash.
You're right.
Financial literacy with them. Oh, and it was hilarious this summer. I got to tell you about this one lady. She was a machinist, and she was in part of the Zoom class. But
thank you, Rose, for your donation
to IYAI. Thank you, Rose. Thank you so much, Rose. It was so. And Rose, tell everybody, okay? Because we just want to.
Sorry to interrupt you. She said she had to go, but she wanted to let you know she made a donation.
Oh, Rose, thank you so much. And look at the strawberries down. So this is the thing. So they don't know about benefits. So when we talk about financial literacy, I was laughing. I said, well, I want you to think about your credit card. I said, but I also want you in your bank. I said, but when you're thinking about making your life choices, you want to understand about things like total compensation, which includes your benefits, whether you get time off, whether you have sick leave, whether you have a pension, whether you have a 401k, whatever. And so this one lady who was one of the speakers, I was telling you about critical manufacturing. She was from International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. And so her life story that she gave them was that she just happened to like, she had brothers and stuff like that. So she got, she happened to like the whole maintenance thing and stuff like that. So she started out, and she said first when she started out, she was doing Jiffy Lube and all them kind of things. She said, so finally she got a job at UPS. She said, and she was hilarious. I won't probably be as funny as she was, but she was talking about, she said, so I got this job at UPS. And she said, I was happy with the job I had in Jiffy Lube compared to what I had been making. Okay. She said the people started going through this thing of, I was going to get 2 weeks of vacation.
Sorry, yes, David.
That. She said it was the first time in my life that anybody was ever going to be paying me for not being at work. That's the way she was explaining to the class about what it meant and how she translated having paid vacation and stuff. And it was, she said, no joking aside, she said, I was well into my 30s. And she said, now I gave you my work experience. I gave you a little bit of my life. She said, but I had never, ever had a job where I had that I had those kinds of additional benefits. Then she went on to talk about she had kids and that kind of stuff. And it was like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. Okay. And I'm saying, and so the more you can expose, the more we can expose our young folks to where they can really understand the full range of how they make decisions, what those choices are, the better. So that's it. So that is just, so anything that you can, we'd love you to just, be involved. If you want to help, we got a way for you to help. Okay. And no, there's no question financially, and we know it's hard times. Okay. Financially, anything that you can do to wind up helping, we are more than very, very graciously accept everything. Okay.
So Netta, Libra, Love, and Pretty Mrs. G, if you go on the IYAI site, click on the shopping cart at the top right, and it'll take you to the PayPal link to donate.
Yeah. Yes. So that's what we're up to. We just trying to create the army, and oh my gosh, the things that, and when you get on the website, we've been updating the website. Oh my God. But there's a section that says videos, and you can go on there and you can and some of the examples of the videos that have been done by the young people, and these are 11th and 12th graders, okay, of them actually telling their own stories and thoughts about the whole piece in terms of infrastructure. There's one in there that one of the kids did that was on the homelessness that I had to take a Kleenex. I mean, just the it's just real, okay, and they're unbelievable. Now let me tell you something that you're gonna be hearing a lot, my big mouth, okay, that really hit me is this summer, because this summer our program, we turned our very highly experiential program where all the tours and all of this. I really thought in Chicago that they weren't going to do a program, and I just thought they weren't. Oh, who's going to do a program and all, and we turned that program to be a virtual program in 90 days. Okay. And so this is the point. And we were able to gift the computers. I mean, honestly, I got a great board, and we did have private sector that came to the table. And so because none of these kids that we had a cohort of 25, none of them had computers. They didn't have the laptops. And then we have all these other gizmos that you use to do the My Beloved community. But when they went with the remote, the kids just did not have the Chromebooks. They didn't, and many of them did not have internet connectivity at home. Okay. And so we were able to support with that. I got the opportunity to see firsthand what it meant not to have internet connectivity. And if you had it and it wasn't high speed or broadband, the difference that made for those kids. This is where I tell you the difference between, I knew the digital divide, the difference I was telling you between personal accomplishment and collective success. But you see, I'm not personally living that divide. Mm-hmm. And so even though I have a lot of empathy, I'm not living it.
Right.
I saw it. Okay. And I saw it in the kids. I could almost cry. I saw it in the kids that even though we were able to give them the laptops and we were able to help with their parents with they had different services. If your facilities and stuff just are not geared and they're old and all that, you just don't get the connectivity that you need. Or here's one little laptop in a house and there's 5 people need, it's all those kind of things. So what happened is they're not having, aside from the fact it's difficult enough for the young people, these 5, 6, and 7 hours of doing this remote stuff. But then if you can't even participate because your connection is messy, you're grainy, it's coming in and leaving out, or else everybody's talking and they on this page and your voice is coming in 20 seconds later on that. What happens is you just can you imagine? Well, you can't imagine going through that day after day after day and have that be in your regular class experience. Totally unacceptable. Okay. And so this whole thing in terms of really, we've known about the digital divide and everything for a decade now. And to make it wind up now with all this escalation that's taken place about remote and all of that, we have got to insist that high-speed internet broadband, as all this infrastructure stuff starts moving and whatever's happening in the educational area, we got to start just hunking away at it. It's not chopping away at it. It is hunking away at it, because it is really, they're doing everything now. Talk about voting. If you are not online, you can't, if you're not, don't have access, you can't do things, your normal things of hooking up and what you can do online, make payments, get different services and all that kind of stuff. If you don't have the connectivity, your life, your entire quality of life, whether people like it or not, is really going to be fundamentally impacted. Okay. And that's just going to make us have, worse situations. So definitely it really touched my heart on the education stuff, because I got a chance to honestly see and experience what it meant for kids who could not, who just the connectivity just was not there, and it was not a good experience.
Do you have a question from Mama Love? She says, my family and I live in Brooklyn. How can I introduce this to my children?
Well, I tell you what, Mama Love, all you have to do is just stay connected. One of the things that we're doing is that in the first quarter, we are introducing, thank you, an actual learning management center that will be part of our website. Okay. So we got a little bit that we just thought that was one of the things that we did when we made the transition to virtual this summer. We did not only just make the train, it was enough to make it to be able to do the video conferencing by Zoom and all of that. But one of the things that we were able to do was to invest in being able to actually get what they call a learning management system, so that it will permit you to have some self-directed learning. Okay. And so it is called Moodle. And so that system, it's not perfect, but it does have like all the modules that we had that we took our kids through this summer. We'll have that as open. And then one of the things that we're looking to do is to expand that so that we can actually put IYAI programming online. Okay. And one of the things that our young people are working on is helping us to understand how we need to make it more interactive and fun and all of that, so that you're just not doing a lot of speaking presentations and a lot of YouTubes. We really want to bring, and are going to be spending this year, really, how do you wind up bringing, I love touch and I'm not getting rid of touch, but at the same time, how do you really wind up bringing remote learning, particularly for young adults? How do you really wind up making that as exciting as possible? So Mama Love, that's what we're gonna, so some aspects of that center we will in fact have as what we'll call open source. So folks who are just really interested and want their kids to be able to to take advantage of at least seeing some of this stuff and say, oh, I never thought about the water sector. I never even thought about transportation. At least you'll be able to get a good sense of the careers.
TT, we're gonna let you
Brooklyn years ago.
Mm-hmm. David has joined us. He got home.
Hi, David.
He's her favorite.
He's so wonderful. He's wonderful. That's it.
We are ready for our board meetings Saturday, Auntie, and we're gonna let you go because I know you gotta get on the Zoom with the children. And I broke into your very busy schedule today just to bring you on Giving Tuesday so that we could tell everybody about IYAI. But I am gonna bring Dr. Beverly Scott, my auntie, back on a Sunday broadcast, not this Sunday because we have our board meeting, but one coming up where we can actually talk for an hour, answer your questions. I have time to promote it so that we can have a lot more people and really get some donations in to help this very, very, very amazing charity that does great work all over the country.
Oh, she is so wonderful. And that's why you see, and my niece is the most wonderful person in the world. She really is. And David back there, he is wonderful. He's double wonderful.
Now, if she wasn't on here, she'd be calling me a pain in the butt, but it's okay.
She's a good pain in the butt. She's a good pain in the butt. That's it. I love you guys so much. And please make sure to have a wonderful, really a wonderful and blessed, but socially distanced, holiday. And we will all get through this, and we're going to get through it stronger and better. Okay.
And get on Biden, TT, and get us an infrastructure deal.
We need an infrastructure deal, and I'm on a high-speed internet broadband wagon. Okay,
get on them, and y'all go donate at IYAI.org. I put it up on the screen. Bye, love you. I'll call you later.
Take care. Bye. 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 Mama.